Eskom is once again in the news with regards to tariff increases and necessary increase required to fund the new power plants under construction and the utilities expansion program. Here to take us through how Eskom can avoid the common pitfalls of project delays and budget overruns that could cost trillions of dollars in lost investment is Ken Robinson. He's the Executive Director at Accenture. A very good morning to you, Ken. Let me throw that question to you. How can Eskom avoid these pitfalls in projects?
Well, they have had, they indicate in the recent annual report there were some delays at Masutha due to boilers, and also at Ingula due to some industrial action, and also the geological conditions in the turbine because it's an interior pump storage scheme. So the best way of looking at it in our view is to consider that Eskom and many of the other infrastructure developers in this country, whether it's Transnet or the provincial governments, are going to have a whole flow of projects. If you think of the Presidential Commission on Capital Projects, there's going to be a flow of projects for 20 years, for longer. And so we think they must really industrialize and operationalize their projects. So their project management processes, the systems, and the people involved in projects must consider themselves as part of the operation and not as part of a specific project each time.
Indeed, when you're looking at Eskom, there's rumours of a 14.5% increase in electricity tariffs. That's on top of the increases that we've had already. If all these are implemented, could we perhaps stop seeing electricity tariffs increases?
Yes, I think it's possible over the longer term. Hidden away in Eskom's accounts, well, the headline is that they make a profit. I think it was like 9 billion rand or something. But hidden away in, I think it's note 46, they actually revalue the accounts and they do inflation adjustments. And they actually show that they made nearly R1 billion loss in true economic terms, which means that the tariffs are still not matching the costs. So either tariffs are going to go on increasing or costs must be reduced, or both.
Let's look on the global scale. We know that infrastructure is taking place, particularly in the oil and gas sector. What kind of investments are we seeing coming through there?
Oh, massive investments globally, trillions of dollars. Accenture's recent survey indicates about $38 trillion in the near future across the entire world, and especially in the emerging markets, obviously led by China and India, but many of the markets. And South Africa is not far behind. Certainly trillions of rand will be spent in this country over the next 20 years or so.
Trillions of rands. What are we looking at? Around $38 trillion, or what are we looking at here?
Yes, so the government plan, the IRP 2010 by the Department of Energy, indicates 55 gigawatts of new electricity capacity in the next 20 years. So for those who are not so technically minded, a large coal-fired power station, such as you see on the N2 in Mpumalanga or in Masutha, are about 5 gigawatts, slightly less. So you're talking in terms of 11 big power stations, or the equivalent in smaller ones, in South Africa over the next 20 years.
So it looks like government pretty positive of a growth here in South Africa. But when you look at a global growth, the global economy is suffering. Is it necessary to continue with all of these projects?
There will always be replacements in Europe and in North America, so that even if their economies grow at a slower rate in the 1 and 2% range, they will be replacing their technologies. So certainly in Germany, they've stopped nuclear power stations, as has Japan, so they're going to have to replace them. But you still have growth, albeit less growth, but you still have 8% growth in China, and China's half the world, so half the world's still growing.